We are just 24 hours away from Congresswoman Liz Cheney facing a vote that will likely oust her from GOP House leadership after she denounced former President Trump's lies about the 2020 election. And this morning, House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy is sending a very clear message to his fellow Republicans. She needs to go. In a letter to his GOP colleagues, he said they needed to make a change, while at the same time saying the GOP is a big tent party open to free thought and debate. Well, those two things don't square. That letter comes after the minority leader said he supports Congresswoman Elise Stefanik in her bid to replace Cheney as the GOP's third highest ranking member. Let's get the latest now from Garrett Haake on Capitol Hill and Ashley Parker, White House bureau chief for The Washington Post and former Congressman Denver Ringelman, Republican of Virginia. Garrett, what is the reaction on the Hill to his letter? I mean, we knew he felt this way. Now he just made it official?
I think that's right. The letter essentially formalizes a process that we've been going through for more than a week now and formalizes the position of Kevin McCarthy that Liz Cheney has to go, something that first came clear on that hot mic moment on Fox News. Then he was pushed a little bit further in an interview. Now, finally, we have this letter and we get the whole thought process here. I think the framing that you have to think of this in is that when you are the minority leader, as is Kevin McCarthy, your primary goal, your primary mission, in this case his political mission, is to become Speaker of the House. It's to win back the majority. And what you're seeing here is a political calculation that it is more valuable for House Republicans to have Donald Trump fully in their tent than it is to have Liz Cheney fully in their tent. And we will see over time whether that turns out to be the case. There is a lot of Sturm and Drang about this week, but McCarthy and his leadership team hope that this is the kind of thing that will ultimately fade away if and when Cheney loses most of her megaphone as a member of House leadership.
Okay, Congressman, then I have a two-parter. Why is it that Republicans believe Donald Trump is their ticket to win? Last I checked, he lost the White House, he lost the Senate, he lost Congress. And the fact that we're now hearing Kevin McCarthy say the GOP is open to free thought and debate, that's the opposite of what's happening here.
It is. And I tell you, I wish I was in that conference meeting. And, you know, it takes a lot of guts. Liz has to get up and actually speak to individuals who voted for her last time to keep her position, and this time they're going to vote against her. And it's going to be very interesting what she says, but Liz never really loses her cool. So I think she's actually looking forward to the challenge of this. But when you talk about President Trump losing the election, the issue is polling. And even here, I know that we had our gubernatorial selection yesterday. Yes, it was a convention with only 0.4% of the people participating. However, the number one polling issue was election integrity. And you know, I'm the chief strategist for the Network Contagion Research Institute. And I have to agree, this is a political calculation because what we're seeing is that the QAnon has sort of reverted to new world order. And what you're seeing with the conspiracy theories and what you're seeing with Stop the Steal, what you're seeing with election integrity, it is polling 25 to 30 points above the next issue. So this is a political calculation. And sadly, this is also an offering from McCarthy and the GOP conference to Mar-a-Lago. And a lot of that has to do with the polling in some of these districts they think they can win. It has nothing to do with a moral certitude. It has nothing to do with integrity. It is purely a political calculation based on polling and fundraising. And Liz Cheney is the offering to Mar-a-Lago and President Trump that Kevin McCarthy needs to keep his position and move forward.
What Liz Cheney is consistent. Ashley, I want to share what Republican Senator Lindsey Graham said last night, because it is the opposite of consistent.
The most popular Republican in America, it's not Lindsey Graham, it's not Liz Cheney, it's Donald Trump. People on our side of the aisle believe that Trump policies worked. They're disappointed that he lost. And to try to erase Donald Trump from the Republican Party is insane. And the people who try to erase him are going to wind up getting erased.
Is he saying that he learned that the hard way? Because immediately after the January 6th insurrection, Lindsey Graham said he had never been so humiliated and embarrassed for the country. He very clearly expressed frustration over how Trump handled the riot. And soon after saying that, he got heckled by hardcore Trumpers at an airport, and then he came running back.
Well, it's not just Senator Graham. It's Leader McCarthy originally said Donald Trump bore a lot of the blame for the January 6th attacks. It's Leader McConnell who was quite harsh and critical of Donald Trump's role in those attacks. He, of course, has been a little more consistent, but it's worth noting that even McConnell, when asked on Fox News if he would support Donald Trump if he was the Republican nominee in 2024, said, I believe the direct quote is, Absolutely. There's very few people. I can point to someone like Mitt Romney, for instance, who came out, condemned what happened on January 6th, condemned the former president's role in it, dealt with that harsh heckling at an airport, same with Mitt Romney, the booing at a state convention, and stuck to his principles. Just about everyone else, again, as you mentioned earlier, has raced down to Mar-a-Lago to kiss the ring, to try to placate former President Trump. And that's why you're seeing, in part, this shakeup in Republican leadership this week.
Well, Mitt Romney hasn't. Mitt Romney is the one who actually tweeted that expelling Cheney will cost the GOP votes. Congressman, agree or disagree?
Disagree in the short term. I think in the long term, Mitt Romney is correct. But when you're looking at 2022 and the midterms, the polling again and the fundraising all points to the fact that GOP can take back the House if they use issues that are fiction, like Stop the Steal, like election integrity, which is, I think everybody knows, is a cover term for Stop the Steal. And we're looking at the legislation across the country. It's working for them. So again, I wish I could say that following Trump and this sort of loyalty quotient that you have that everybody has to follow will be, the death knell of the GOP. But it's not about policy and issues right now. It is certainly about loyalty to President Trump. That is really all we have right now. And listening to the panel today, I'm just struck about what happened to me, what's happened to other people. But here's the one issue, the one reason Liz Cheney is being removed from the conference leadership is because she is not loyal to President Trump. That is the one issue. That's it. And the fact is, when you have truth and facts on your side, I just never thought we'd be facts-based radicals in the Republican Party.
We're not just hearing it from Mar-a-Lago, though, Ashley. Wyoming voters have said they are furious with Congresswoman Cheney. Could this not just cost her leadership position? Could she and other Republicans taking her honest position lose their seats?
I mean, we'll have to see. But again, all roads in many ways go through Mar-a-Lago. What a lot of those voters in Wyoming are responding to, in part, is being ginned up by former President Trump. And Donald Trump, he's never been one who is particularly organized. His operation is not very well streamlined, but he is doing what his advisors have described to me as revenge endorsements, which is trying to take out the 10 House Republicans who voted to impeach him and the senators who voted to convict him, and anyone else who he believes was insufficiently loyal when it came to the quote unquote big lie about the election. So he and his aides are calling around in Wyoming, not just trying to find a challenger for her, but trying to clear the field so that challenger doesn't get bogged down and have Liz Cheney prevail. If that will happen, if he will be successful, again, he has very rarely shown that sort of streamlined political operation that you might need to do that. We'll have to see. But this is sort of the most concerted and deliberate former President Trump has been about stuff like this in a while.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. You should know that you can follow today's top stories and breaking news and catch up on your favorite MSNBC shows all in one place. Download the NBC News app today.